So anyways, there's a movie called Flatliners. Oh, Flatliners. Yeah, you know Flatliners. Right? So we wanted to resuscitate some people in their brains. So, remember that Kid Joe? Some people were saying ugly Kid Joe. Well, it was Joe Cool. So, let me tell you what Joe Cool said. He says, well, here's that kid everybody beat up on, picked on, and drugged, and amnesia, and drugs, and everything else. And he says, oh, Flatliners. Oh, Judgment Day. You know, he's going to come back and be like a Unabomber or kill people, some psycho killer shit. And got little Miss Sabrina saying Jeffrey Dahmer, and Jeffrey Dahmer, and Jeffrey Dahmer, and Jeffrey Dahmer. Good old Jeff with sunglasses on told Sabrina not to lie to him again. Said that Flatliner movie thinking, oh, yeah, torture, and he's gonna wake up and gonna program him to kill people and shit. It's at the Flatliners, right? And well, I guess some people were dead in their minds, so we had Flatliners, you know? Because people were dead in their minds like zombies, so we could and wake them up. See, part of the American soldier, is saving lives. There was a movie out there called Taking Lives, where people were studying people, wanting to study them up and then take their lives, like serial killers and shit. And then see on Netflix, they got Black Mirror. Yeah, it's real interesting. I took note of that. I said Flatliners. Well, it's at the front line of psychological operations. We say, well, you got first responders that can, give them some help, or you've got actual medical technicians that can, give them resuscitation. Now here they had a Army field medical officer. He's trying to be real cool and slick. He's one of those 4-year guys. It's like 4 years. Yeah, he did 4 years, and he's doing all kinds of stuff. Saying, I'm a vet. Like everybody's supposed to bow down and worship him. So what I said was, no disrespect to the vets, but I called the real vets and says, hey, real vets, we need some help saving some people. So there's 20 and 40-year-old, 40 years worth of, Army, military, naval intelligence, and Air Force and Marines, are helping out. We say, hey, thank a vet for their service. It seems I've been asleep for about 30-something odd years, and I'll wake up and see what's going on. Well, let's put some of that Israeli intelligence to work, because Israel is always wanting to save the world. We had a Independence Day. Remember? A little Jew guy is in there going, hey, I'm always trying to save the world. So, recycling cans, right? Throwing the recycling can in the trash. Like, well, let's say I can. It said 2 can Sam. The shit can Sams aren't any good, so we had the ICANN to register websites and stuff. Get a little string theory going on. So we're like, well, you got all that stuff, so how can we put it to work for good? Like, well, people need jobs and security jobs and agents. If we put a good health system to work that's everywhere, then people could start to think healthy instead of being like Flatliners and playing bullying games in school with drugged up kids, and then when they wake up, try to turn them into a terrorist. So that's what we meant when we passed the bill and legislation that said some constitutionalists could be terrorists. We're like, well, how can we get confessions? Well, that's what real ministers are for. We go around and try to get confessions. So we try to have a Gitmo court. Like, what's a Gitmo court? Well, it's a bunch of people that are undereducated, and they try to Gitmo by screwing each other out of each other's stuff and little murder cults. And you go out there and say, hey, did you bring your heater? Oh, they're a little heated, so they got guns. I mean, they're running around with guns. So they got gun laws. And they try to take guns from legal citizens and people trying to do good, and we know there's a problem. So I guess I'll let you guys know what was said in that courtroom. It said something about a Liberty Coalition. What's the Liberty Coalition? Well, it wasn't just Republicans in there. It wasn't just Democrats. It was Republicans and Democrats. And the Republicans and the Democrats, which is a spokesperson for the state of Florida and some other states, asked if I could teach the Constitution to congressmen and women. Like, teach the Constitution? What do you mean you don't know the Constitution? It's like, well, so we had a bunch of other political parties call that a filibuster. They're like, well, we got a bunch of filibusters going into Congress like busters with a bunch of earmarks, doing a bunch of fucked up shit while we're trying to create this medical system to help other countries recover from all the wars, from all the vets and wars and things that's passed on through their families and down through their children and everything else. So we're like, well, we get something that works and everybody will get together and push it through and create a system that can help everybody. So he said trust. It's trust. That's the respect, understanding, and solutions that transition people into new life. Want a new life church? Got a bunch of game players out there. That's not new life. So I stopped by a New Life church and handed someone a bookmark. He says, hey, your dad got you at church. There's a bunch of people out there that need help, more than just paying their power bill for a little ring society. It's got Lord of Rings going on in your community. So like, well, how can we fix that? So I was like, well, maybe a little naval intelligence. It was like Bill Nye, the science guy. It's like, no. The bill that came from the Navy intelligence. So they were supposed to not be greedy. Sent this video out years ago, and everybody says, hey, greed, get well soon. He's nice enough to send it to a bunch of sheriff's departments and police departments because he says, hey, we got this psychological crazy shit going around everywhere, and like, nobody's gonna get anything done, so we gotta do something about it. And I was like, well, maybe, just maybe, but give everybody a heads up, and everybody can start plotting and planning on a plan to solve problems and create solutions. It's like solving world problems, beginning with small communities and building out. Helping hands is not helping scams. Helping hands is helping hands, helpers. What's a helper? Well, you had all these kinds of helpers, and you're like, what kind of help are they giving? Well, you can tell by their actions, and, by their living conditions, and, when their children show up at school acting like animals, the school should know that something's wrong in the home. So, selected a bunch of genius kids and well-behaved and said, let's figure this out. It's like that movie, the guy is supposed to show people how to grow crops because they're trying to use Gatorade to grow crops. And this might give you people in Florida, a little shining light. Since I got a little light, I'm going to let it shine. That's my second grade paper about a magic flashlight. He said, here's this, they put this guy to sleep, the Army, Navy, other people. And he's going to wake up and tell people how to grow crops because they're trying to use Gatorade, like the Florida Gators. You know, there's people just eating up families and fucking destroying families and communities. You can't use that to grow crops. You notice if you see the Florida sign, it says, "Thanks for visiting." You know, because people don't want to go to Florida no more. It used to be you go to Florida, you stop at the visitor center. Hey, it's a citrus state. Here's our Florida oranges. You know, check out the Space Center. Hey, we got this cool stuff, these theme parks. But the theme of Florida now is thanks for visiting, because nobody wants to go there. So it's like, thanks for visiting. You know? So, this is so. I'm going to burn this man up. All this other stuff. See, it's supposed to be a joke to snap everybody out of it. And the problem is a few little cronies decided that they were going to play other games. So I said, well, New York, New York. We'll start spreading the news because, I don't know if those Floridians paid attention in Florida. And there's good people in Florida, but there's a lot of mess down there. So I'm thinking, we got a space center that's showing people how to grow crops in outer space. Outer space. There's none of the stuff that we got on Earth in outer space. We're growing crops in outer space. And I wonder why the Florida sign doesn't say, "Hey, welcome to the citrus state. Stop at the visitor center, get some oranges." Split those things up between all the states. Every state had at least one crop they were responsible for. See? Responsibilities. They could grow other crops, but hey, we're known for this crop. To remind each state they gotta grow this crop or that crop or that. Make sure everybody's got food to eat and stuff. And this is, well, better together. Well, it's better to work together. So you got people being selfish. They're like, hey, get well soon. I sent that out across Facebook. Now, I said something to Facebook, and I set up a skeleton system, like a framework of how Facebook should work between all the different states and stuff. So we set up that security solution, and, sent the email to governors and congressmen and senators and stuff, and said, hey, this is going to be the craziest thing that anybody's ever saw, but we got to do something. Maybe if we get everybody to work together, everybody can come out on top. Above ground, Everybody was drowning in craziness. So they say, hey, what do you got? He says, well, you got a Hobby Lobby down there for people who do hobbies and, connect with the world, because everybody's disconnected. Like, what do you mean disconnected? Well, they're stuck on their phones and their computers and being brainwashed into animals and all kinds of other shit. So I'm like, hey, what do we do about that? Well, I was in this little space camp, the South Carolina space camp, for solutions, creating better societies and stuff. So it says, hey, there's this little play in this box observing, not with my eyes, but with my ears. So I'm listening to what everybody's saying. And you got these Israelis coming in with a little Jesus Play skit, but instead they did something different. And they had Bible adventures and cartoon and all this other stuff, programming people to be good people and all this other stuff. And then they had these Israelis coming in saying shalom, shalom, and they had brooms. Shalom, and brooms, sweeping and cleaning up. Shalom. So what they did is they made this Harry Potter movie, and it's supposed to riding on broomsticks, because of the witches and everything else, and catch the seeker, and you win. So, this big plot to help people heal. So, it was the Georgetown camp, South Carolina, and we used to play, war games with the National Guard. Of course, me and the boys always won. We had hunting traps, and man traps, and all kinds of other stuff. And how to do all that stuff. So, it's like Treadwater Project. And we had all this other stuff going on. It's like he was trying to say is we were playing war games with the National Guard in case they ever try to brainwash our citizens to destroy each other. So we were like, wait, we can't do that. So instead of playing with paintball guns and real guns, we just had little sticks from the woods, like those switches you're supposed to spank your kids with for getting out of line. So we were chasing the National Guard and everybody with little stick guns, going, hey, gotcha. See, it's supposed to be a joke. And then we had this, he said these little Israeli people saying, here, sweeping the floors, cleaning up, Operation Clean Sweep. The Treadwater Project is Operation Clean Sweep. It's not clean sweep, destroy people. It was clean sweep with fresh start. And so you see fresh start, feed your kids healthy food, Fresh Start Florida. Feed your kids healthy food, healthy minds, and healthy traditions. It's called etiquette. See, naval science. Naval science is more than just sailing boats on the water and everything else. That's why President Trump sent out hope, mercy. See? Hope and mercy. So that everybody could learn to work together. See, I sent an email and said, hey, it's going to be crazy, but God will show you the way. So, all these spirits and stuff. There's another show about, spirits. I don't remember the name of it, but it's called, well, you take that thread, right? They call it the silver lining. It's more like the gray lining. See, Navy ships are all painted gray, and they got blue and gold for the royal colors. It was in England, the British Royal Navy and the U.S. Navy. So you had British intelligence, and we had American intelligence. So they were trying to make Bane bridges, like Bane from Batman. Then you could unscramble those and say British intelligence and American intelligence, and we're always friends with Israel.